A poem. I'm not sure that I'll read very well, but I'll do my best. It's the Brigs of Ayr, inscribed to one John Ballantyne, who was the provider of funding which helped Burns get published in Edinburgh, and to which Burns dedicated this poem. It's about two bridges, or two brigs. The first, built in the 14th century, consisted of 4 lofty arches. The road crossing over was steep and narrow, mostly for foot traffic. The new bridge, built 100 yards below it, consisting of 5 arches, had on the contrary a broad and gentle inclining access. The former structure, the old brig, came to grief in 1830 when it was under repair, and had at length to be bodily removed and another new one substituted. But here we have the Brigs of Ayr. The simple bard, rough at the rustic plough, learning his tuneful trade from every bough, the chanting linnet or the mellow thrush, hailing the setting sun sweet in the greenthorn bush, the soaring lark, the perching redbreast shrill, or deep-toned plovers grey, wild whistling over the hill. Shall he, nursed in that peasant's lowly shed, to hardy independence bravely bred, by early poverty to hardship steeled, and trained to arms in stern misfortune's field? Shall he be guilty of their hireling crimes, the servile mercenary Swiss of rhymes? Or labour hard the panegyric close, with all the venal soul of dedicating prose? No, no, though his artless strains he rudely sings, and throws his hand uncouthly o'er the strings, he glows with all the spirit of the bard. Fame, honest fame, is great his dear reward. Still, if some patron's generous care he trace, skilled in the secret to bestow with grace, when Ballantyne befriends his humble name, and hands his rustic stranger up to fame, with heartfelt throes his grateful bosom swells, the godlike bliss to give alone excels. 'Twas when the stacks get on their winter hap, and thack and rape secure the toil-worn crap. Potato bings are snuggled up frae skaith of common winter's biting frosty breath. The bees rejoicing o'er their summer toils, unnumbered buds and flowers, delicious spoils, sealed up with frugal care in massive waxen piles, are doomed by man, that tyrant o'er the weak, the death of devils smored with brimstone reek. The thundering guns are heard on every side, the wounded coveys reeling, scattering wide. The feathered field mates bound by nature's tie, sires, mothers, children, in one carnage lie. What warms poetic heart but inly bleeds and excretes man's savage, ruthless deeds? Nae more the flower in this field or meadow springs, nae mair the grove with airy concert rings, except perhaps the robin's whistle and glee. Proud o' height, o' some bit half-lang tree, the hoary moans precede the sunny days, mild, calm, serene, wide, spreads the noontide blaze, while thick the gossamer waves wanton in the rays. It was in that season when a simple bard, unknown and poor, simplicity's reward, a knight within the ancient Brug of Ayr, by whim inspired or haply pressed with care, he left his bed and took his wayward route, and down by Simpson's Weald the left aboot, whether impelled by all directing fate to witness what I after shall narrate, or whether wrapped in meditation high he wandered out, he knew not where nor why. The browsy dungeon clock had numbered 2. The Wallace Tower had sworn the fact was true. The tide-swoln firth, with sullen-sounding roar, through the still night dashed hoarse alang the shore. All else was hushed as nature closed aye. The silent moon shone high o'er tower and tree. The chilly frost beneath the silver beam crept gently, crusting o'er the glittering stream. When, lo, on either hand the listening bard, the clang and sue o' whistling wings is heard. two dusky forms dart through the midnight air, swift as ghosts drives the whirling hare. And on the old brig his airy shape uprears, the ether flutters o'er the rising piers. Our warlock rhymer instantly descried the sprites that o'er the Brigs of Ayr preside. That birds are second-sighted is nae joke, and ken the lingo of the spiritual folk. Fays, spunkies, kelpies, oh, they can explain them, and even the very dills, they brawly ken them. Old Brig appeared of ancient Pictish race, the very wrinkles Gothic in his face. He seemed as he, with time, had worseled lang, yet toughly dour, he bade an unco bang. No Brig was busket in a braw new coat, that he at London frae ain atoms got. In's hand 5 taper straves as smooth as a bead, with verls and whirligirdles at the head. The Goth was stucken round with anxious search, spying the timeward flaws in every arch. It chanced his new come neighbour took his e'e, and even a vexed and angry heart had he, with thieveless sneer, to see his mottish mien. He, down to the water, gives him this greet-e'en. Old Brig: I doubt no, friend, ye'll think you're nae sheepshank. Ance ye had streak it o'er frae bank to bank, but gin ye be a brig as old as me, though faith that day I doubt ye'll never see. There'll be, if that date come, I wad a bottle, some fewer wigmilleries in your nuttle. New Brig: Old vandal, ye but show your little mence, but just about it wi' your scanty sense. Will your poor, narrow footpath of a street, where twa wheelbarrows tremble when they meet, your ruined, formless bulk of stain and lime, compared with bonny brigs of modern time? There's men o' taste would tack the Dunket stream, though they should cast the verra sark and swim, ere they would grate their feelings with your view of sic an ugly Gothic hulk as you. Old Brig: Conceited gowk, puffed with windy pride, this mony a year I've stood the flooding tide, and though wi' crazy ild I'm sair for fairn, I'll be a brig when you're a shapeless cairn. As yet ye little ken the matter, but 2 or 3 winters will inform ye better, when heavy dark continued all day rains, with deepening deluges o'erflow the plains. When from the hills, where springs the brawling coil, or stately Luger's mossy fountains boil, or where the Greenock winds his moorland course, or haunted Garble draws his feeble source, aroused by blustering winds and spotting drows, in many a torrent down his snaw-brew rows, or crashing ice, borne on the routing speed, sweeps dams and mills and brigs all to the gate. And from Glenbook down to Rattantee, old Ayr is just one lengthened tumbling sea. Then down you'll hurl, they'll know you'll never rise, and dash the gumly drops up to your pouring skies, a lesson sadly teaching, to your cost, the architecture's noble art is lost. New Brig: Thine architecture, troth, I needs must say it. Lord be thanked that we've tint the gate o't. Gaunt, ghastly, gaist-alluring edifices, hanging with threatening jut-like precipices, o'er-arching mouldy gloom-inspiring coves, supporting roofs fantastic stony groves, windows and doors in nameless sculpted trest, with outer symmetry or taste unblessed. Forms like some bedlam statuary's dream, the crazed creations of a misguided whim. Forms might be worshipped on the bended knee, and still the second dread command to be free. Their likeness is not found on earth, in air or sea. Mansions that would disgrace the building taste of any mason, reptile, bird, or beast, fit only for a doited monkish race, with frosty maids forsworn the dear embrace, or queefs of ater times, wha held the notion that sullen gloom was sterling true devotion. Fancies that our Guid Brug denies protection, and soon may they expire unblessed with resurrection. Old Brig. O ye, I dear remembered ancient yearlings, were ye but here to share my wounded feelings. Ye worthy provis, and mony a bell, wha in the paths o' righteousness did toil, aye, ye dandy deacons, and ye dounce conveneers, to whom our moderns are but cosy cleaners, ye godly councils wha had blessed this town, ye godly brethren o' the sacred gown, wha meekly gie your hurdies to the smeters. And, what would now be strange, ye godly writers. Ye douce folk, I've borne aboon the brew, were ye but here, what would ye say or do? How would your spirits groan in deep vexation to each melancholy alteration, and agonize and curse the time and place when ye begat the base degenerate race, nae langer revered men, their country's glory, in plain-braid Scots hold forth a plain-braid story. Nae langer thrifty citizens and douce meet o'er a pint or in the council house, but strummel, corky-headed, graceless gentry, the heriment, the ruin of this country, men, 3 parts made by tailors and by barbers, wha waste your wheel-paned gear on damned new bridges and harbours. New Brig. Now hold ye there, for faith ye've said enough, and muckle mair than ye can mak to tough. As for your priesthood, I shall say but little. Corbies and clergy are short-right kickle, but under a favour of the langer bread, abuse o' magistrates might weel be spared, to liken them to your old world squad. I must needs say companions are odd. In Ayr, wagwits nae mair can hae I'll handle, to mouth a citizen a term o' scandal. Nae more the council waddles down the street in all the pomp and ignorant conceit, men wha grow wise, prigging o'er hops and raisins, or gathered liberal views in bonds and seasons. If haply knowledge on a rampant tramp had assured them with a glimmer of his lamp, and would common sense for once betray them, plain dull stupidity step kindly in to aid them. What further Clish MacLaver might been said, what bloody wars if spirits had blood to shed, no man can tell, but all before their sight a fairy train appeared in order bright, adown the glittering stream they featly danced, bright to the moon their various dresses glanced. They footed o'er the watery glass so neat, the infant ice scarce bent beneath their feet, while arts of minstrelsy among them rung, and soul-ennobling bards heroic ditties sung. O Han MacLachlan, their inspiring sage, been there to hear this heavenly band engage, when through his dear Strathsays they bore the Highland rage, or when they struck old Scotia's melting airs, the lovers' raptured joys of bleeding cares. How would his Highland lug be nobler fired, and even his matchless hand with finer touch inspired? No guest could tell what instrument appeared, but all the soul of music's self was heard. Harmonious concert rung in every part, while simple melody poured, moving on the heart. The genius of the stream in front appears, a venerable chief advanced in years, his hoary head with water lilies crowned, his manly leg with garter tangle bound. Next came the loveliest pair in all the ring, sweet female beauty hand in hand with spring. Then crowned with flowery hay came Earl Joy, and Summer, with his fervid beaming eye, all chasing Plenty with her flowering horn, led yellow Autumn wreathed with nobling corn. When winter's time bleached locks did hoary show, by hospitality with cloudless brow. Next followed courage, with his martial stride. From here the field wild woodly coverts hide. Benevolence with mild benignant air, a female form came from the towers of stair. Learning and worth in equal measures trode from simple Katrine, their long-loved abode. Last white-robed Peace, crowned with a hazel wreath, to rustic agriculture did bequeath the broken iron instruments of death, at sight of whom our spirits forgat their kindling wrath.